Okay, imagine finding this hidden message, right? Perfectly symmetrical, tucked away in the ashes of Pompeii,
Yeah.
but then also carved into medieval church walls, like centuries later.
It's pretty wild when you think about the time frame.
Totally. And this isn't just, a clever word trick. It's the Sator Square. And its story, well, it's a 2,000-year-old puzzle we're going to deep dive into.
Mm-hmm.
For you today, we've looked at archaeological reports, some deep linguistic analysis, historical texts, really trying to get why this ancient square is still so fascinating.
And the mission really is to sort of peel back the layers, right? Unpack the meaning, the mystery behind this incredible palindrome.
So just to set the stage for you, we're talking about a 5x5 grid of Latin words: Sator, Arepo, TENET, opera, ROTAS.
Yeah.
And the amazing part is you read it forwards, backwards, top to bottom, bottom to top.
Mm-hmm.
It always spells out Sator, Arepo, TENET, opera, ROTAS.
It's perfectly balanced. But what's truly fascinating, I think, is that while the literal translation is, well, it's kind of mundane, something like the sower, Arepo, works the wheels with care.
Right. Doesn't sound world-shattering.
Exactly. But this square has shown up in the most significant places. You find it in Roman homes in Pompeii, preserved from 79 AD.
Wow.
And then centuries later, it's in medieval churches across Europe, sometimes even etched onto barns as like a protective charm.
That spread.
Yeah.
I mean, geographically and over time, that immediately tells you there's something more going on than just the literal meaning.
Oh, absolutely. It points to deeper, probably shifting meanings.
Which brings us to that idea that for a long time, people thought the Sator Square was basically an early Christian secret symbol, a cryptogram.
Exactly. That was the leading theory for a very long time. The idea was you could rearrange the letters, pretty cleverly actually, to spell out Pater Noster, that's our Father, in Latin twice, arranged in a cross shape.
Okay.
With the letter N right there in the middle, shared by both words.
Yeah.
And the leftover letters, an A and an O.
Alpha and Omega.
Precisely. Which are, hugely powerful symbols for God in early Christianity. So for Christians facing persecution, it seemed like this perfect hidden way to signal their faith.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
But you mentioned Pompeii, and when you first told me about those finds, I immediately thought, okay, so what else could it be? Because finding it in Pompeii, that's crucial, right?
It's absolutely critical because it throws a huge wrench into that purely Christian origin story.
How so?
Well, Vesuvius erupted in 79 AD. The ash basically froze those inscriptions in time. And that gives us hard archaeological proof from before Christianity was really widespread or established, especially in a place like Pompeii.
Right, so it predates the context needed for that specific Christian interpretation.
Exactly. So it forces the question, if it wasn't originally Christian, what was it? And that just flung the doors wide open for all sorts of other theories.
Okay, so what kind of other ideas started popping up once that Christian-only view was challenged?
Well, you get a whole range. Some scholars proposed a Jewish origin, maybe linking it to mystical traditions or possibly even numerology, Pythagorean ideas, maybe.
Interesting, like a coded charm.
Perhaps. Or maybe connected to protective formulas. Then you've got potential pagan links. Sator means sower, which could connect to Saturn, the Roman god of agriculture.
Ah, okay.
Or maybe even Jupiter. And then stepping further out, you get into more esoteric, even magical interpretations. People seeing it as some kind of, ancient talisman or a codified cosmic device.
Wow, cosmic device.
Yeah, suggesting it holds some kind of secret universal truth or power. It really shows how different cultures, different belief systems could look at the same object and see something totally different.
And right in the middle of all this debate, all these interpretations swirling around, is that one word, Arepo.
The mystery word.
Exactly. Linguists call it hapax legomenon, which is just a fancy term meaning.
It appears only once. Just here, in the Sator Square. Nowhere else in all of known Latin literature.
So we don't even know for sure what it means. Was Arepo a name, the sower's name? Was this some kind of tool like a plow? Or was it just made up? A nonsense word to make the palindrome work?
And that ambiguity, that uncertainty around Arepo is actually, maybe paradoxically, the key to the square's survival and power.
How do you mean?
Well, because it's not clearly defined, it leaves room. It allows the square to be flexible, to adapt. It functions almost like an ancient Rorschach test,
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Like people project their own meaning onto it.
Exactly. Different groups, different eras, they could all pour their own beliefs, their own needs, whether it's Christian faith, magical protection, philosophical ideas onto this existing, intriguing structure. That adaptability is what let it travel across centuries and cultures.
That's a brilliant way to think about it. It makes you wonder, doesn't it? If you were, say, an ordinary Roman back then, seeing this scratched on a wall, Would you have grasped all these potential hidden depths? Or would you just think, neat word puzzle?
Probably the latter for many.
Yeah. But the square itself becomes this incredible object lesson. It's not just about the puzzle. It's about how we humans make meaning, how symbols evolve and take on new lives way beyond their original context. It's like a little window into thousands of years of changing beliefs.
So when you step back, what really stands out, I think, is that the Sator Square is this amazing testament to, well, ancient ingenuity, sure, but also to how symbols can live and breathe and transform.
Right.
And that enduring ambiguity, especially around Arepo, it's not really a flaw or a problem we need to definitively solve. It might actually be the secret to its incredible longevity. It's what kept it relevant, allowed it to be this versatile canvas. So here we are, 2,000 years later, still talking about it, this ancient enigma, still basically an unsolved riddle, still inviting us to try and figure it out, to reinterpret it. And it really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What other incredibly complex, layered puzzles like this are out there from antiquity, just waiting for us to find them, or to maybe finally understand their full story? And what could they tell us about ourselves?